Hello everybody and welcome back in the Blue Cross Arena at the War Memorial from Rochester, New York. The Rochester Americans and the Toronto Marlies ready to get it going before the Blue Jays and the New York Yankees get it started in New York as well. And game one of the postseason for the Jays and Yanks. Dustin Tokarski gets the start for the Americans and Dylan Ferguson gets the start for the Marlies. Gave up 2 early in the first, last game 1 late in the third. Marlies will go on to win 4-3. Taking the first 2 against the Sens of identical 4-3 scores. So 2-0 on the season on the road to start. They're at home for the next 3 as the draw one back by Hosang. Fired in by Manel. Goes in deep. Rochester Americans have always been trouble for Toronto. Minton scores! Fraser Minton with his 3rd of the year, and it comes early here in Rochester. Only 45 seconds in. This is a guy, look at the defense just standing there. You have to go after Fraser Minton. You cannot let him go to the net. That is a gift of a goal early on for the Toronto Marlies. And that's league leading 3rd goal of the year for Fraser Minton. So Minton has his 3rd of the season in 3 games played. And he has been a force to reckon with, hasn't he? 2 against Belleville, 1 now here against Rochester. It's turned over and back to the Rochester zone. Beside their net it goes. Prow has it here for the Americans in the corner. Leafs just lost to the Ottawa Senators 4-3 in Scotiabank Arena. So they fall to 2-1 on the season. Leading in first place, it's really not something that was expected at all, but here's a shot to the net, stopped by Tokarski. First place right now is the Minnesota Wild. Pass in front, great save, score! Fraser Minton again. That's his 4th of the year, his 2nd tonight. And just like that, the Toronto Marlies are up 2-0 here in Rochester against the Americans. Great save by Tokarski, but the rebound is right there, and you know Fraser Minton is not going to miss. Minton already has 2 goals here tonight against Rochester. Fans here in Rochester have already gone quiet. Here's Prow. Minton pokes it further. Here he comes again. Fraser Minton in, shoots. He scores! Top right corner of the net. Fraser Minton. That's a classic hat trick right there. His 1st as a Marlie. Yep. 1st hat trick as a Marlie. His 5th of the season. Already his 3rd goal tonight. The Marlies off to a fast 3-0 start in Rochester. They're really liking this road game tonight. Face off back to center ice. Toronto has come and they have knocked on Rochester's front door. Not even 5 minutes in, it's 3-0. Manel fires it in for the Marlies. It goes in deep. Dustin Tokarski called down from the Buffalo Sabres to the Rochester Americans. Moving up is Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. He is on the Sabres roster now. Here's Manel. Avi Cabell up for Brett Seney. And he'll fire it just wide of the zone, bouncing out in front of the goal. Robertson steps into the play. He'll kick it back. Seney getting in there. They dig for it, and Robertson gets it back. Seney wide up, shoots, and it's fired up the mark and wide. Avi Cabell, Seney again, wides up, and pickpocketing has it again, and then lost it again. As here's Quinn in his own zone. Toronto a 3-0 standpoint here in the first, looking to make it 4 as it goes all the way back down the Marley ice, and that will go for icing. Yeah, 3-0 here in the first. Fraser Minton a hat trick, and it was a good one too. Here's the face-off, 1 back. Davidson for the Rochester Americans. Here's Quinn. Take it down. It's picked up by the Marlies. Chris sends it back to the point. Jankowski. And here come the Americans. Inside, a 2-on-1. Quinn to the net. Stopped by Ferguson. Here's Kirill Semyonov. 8 to go in the period. He'll flip it down the ice. As we said, Blue Jays and Yankees right after this. Game 1 of the postseason. Here come the Rochester Americans. A race down the right side boards. Chris back, a shot, kicked away, a rebound, got it off the outside of the post. They get it back again, and that tuck stop by Ferguson. Another shot, and Ferguson has all of them. Goes to the corner boards. Marlies played ahead, Antti Somla. 5.5 to go here in the first. He'll just flip it back into the Rochester zone. After it goes Mark Michaelis. Marlies try to keep it in, and they do. Here's a shot to the net. It bounces in front. Tokarski down, has it for Rochester. And here we go. Face off. Fraser Minton's line back on the ice here. The face off. 1 back controlled. Here's Dahlstrom to Minton. He shoots, and that one in front of the net. Found the lane. It was blocked momentarily. Here's Prow. Hosang after him, but Prow will easily get it out. There was McInnes. Here's Anderson. Back ahead to Hosang. Prow again, knocked down. Anderson trying to keep it in. He took a man down, and that's going to be a penalty. Toronto will have the first penalty of the night. Rochester will go their first power play of the afternoon. Down 3-0 here in the first to Toronto. Fraser Minton hat trick. Natural way to score a hat trick, too, is get 3 inside the same period. Draw one back. Davidson shoots, and Ferguson saw that. Duszak off the board. Somla not out. Kept in by the Americans. That one goes in behind. Picked up by the Marlies and cleared. The Marlies will face Rochester for their home opener. And then they will see the Grand Rapids Griffins for 2 games at home in a row. In comes Rochester. And Schultz has it back, and he'll play that up for Davidson. Here's a Gleave to the net. Centered. Mersch stop rebound, and Ferguson got them both. Antti Somla with it back. And he'll just flip it down the Rochester ice in deep. In behind their goal. Davidson hit. Knocked off the puck. Marlies lead 3-0 through 1. Going into the second period of play, the Toronto Marlies up 3-0. And gang out shot 7-6 after 1. Hits are 6-3 Toronto. Faceoffs 4-3 Americans. No power plays. 3-0 Marlies after 1. Welcome now into the second period of play. The Toronto Marlies with a 3-0 lead on the Rochester Americans. And as you know, what's coming up next? The Blue Jays and the New York Yankees. Game 1 of the postseason. Draw one back. It's controlled here by Wolainen. And Quinn has that on the left side. Knocked down. Played too far, but back down the ice. That'll do it for the power play. After it goes Somla again. Prout picks it up and plays that to Jankowski. Here come the Rochester Americans in on the left side, racing to the goal. Duszak bumped off the puck, tries to get it back. Quinn. And he's knocked down as Duszak might have a step. Here's Joey Duszak, and back to get him are all the Americans. Somla to Anderson, and he'll come back out of the zone and just flip it back in their end. Rochester with the puck again. Already almost 4 gone here in the middle period. Hayden gives it away. There's Anderson again, and past the red line and down the ice. Tokarski plays it in the corner. Flips that around the boards. Hit there at the wing. Here's Carl Dahlstrom, and a penalty coming against Toronto again. This will be their second penalty tonight. Face off to the left side of the net. Game 3 of the season for both teams already. Americans 2-0. Marlies 2-0. Here's a centering pass. Merck. Back to Schultz. That's why it was so surprising that they gave up 3 to Minton in the first. Stopped by Ferguson. It's loose. Here's a Gleave. Looks to the net. No help there. Davidson back. Schultz on the power play of Gleave, and nothing there for the taking as Dahlstrom plays it down the ice. Now kill off some penalty time here for the Marlies. There's a big hit there. Tokarski will cover up for the Rochester Americans. Just about halfway. Still a 3-0 lead for Toronto on Rochester. Here comes the face-off in the Rochester zone. And it is won back by the Americans. Here's Schultz. He has it back. And to McInnes. McInnes in over the line. Has a step with Mersch. Shot right on. Ferguson battles it. And here's Dahlstrom, and he'll play it down the ice again for Toronto. Americans will go 0 for 2 on the power play now on the night. Hit there as Gleave will bring it inside. Looking. Drop for help in McInnes. Won't get that. Here's Hosang. Gave it away, getting it back. It's off the outside of the post. Rochester just missed. Racing after that one is Manel. He'll slow down his man getting to the puck. And lucky for Toronto, they did not get called on that. Here's another huge hit. Cini. After that puck, Hosang getting in there. They battle. Here's the pass to McInnes. Past the halfway mark of the game. Still 3-0. Cini drops back. Hallwell down the middle, and he can't get a shot. Cini backhand it. Stopped by Tokarski. Here's Schultz. Fraser Minton in the first period. Hat trick for Toronto. Hallwell off his skate. Tries to get it back. Robertson. He'll find helping Chris. Winding up for a shot. None there. Mersch. Back for the Americans. Knocked along the boards. Hallwell spins and now fires it back into the Rochester ice. 6.5 to go in the middle period. 3-0 Toronto leading on the Rochester Americans all the way back from the first. In comes Rochester down the left wing side. Malone to the net that deflects in front. And loose, a giveaway. McInnes won't get it to the net. Off the boards and back down the ice by the Marlies. Not enough for icing. Here's Wolanin as Murray's taken down. Dargachintsev bumped. Bringing in is Malone to the net with a move, and he's stopped by Ferguson. Dusak to Jeremy McKenna. Over the red line and back into the Rochester zone again. And it's picked up again. The Marlies averaging 4 goals on the road each game. And here's Franco. Back to Malone. Dargachintsev far pass for Fraser Minton off the bench. Minton in, shoot, he scores! Fraser Minton, a 4-goal night. My goodness. It is 4-0 Marlies. And Fraser Minton, in only the 3rd game of the season for Toronto, has 6 goals scored in only 3 games played. His 4th goal tonight. Now, it's hard enough to score 3, scored in 4 is like a mission impossible, and he's done it. Dusak, here's Hosang. Inside, he'll drop that off for some help. And out comes Quinn. Breakaway Rochester. In they come. Stopped by Ferguson. In behind the goal, Americans have it again with Quinn. Looking to the net, Ferguson down. How's that? It's loose. Save that. Rebound, they knock away. And the period comes to an end. Ferguson keeps it out. Toronto leads it 4-0 after 2. Shots a goal in the game, 13-8 Rochester, 4-0 the Marlies lead. Hits are 12-5 Toronto, face-off 7-4 Americans, power plays Rochester 0 for 2. Toronto hasn't had a 4-0 Toronto after 2. Fraser Minton has 4 goals. Welcome into the 3rd period here tonight as the top line, Fraser Minton in with Hosang and the others here to start the 3rd. 4-0 the Marlies lead on Rochester. When has that ever happened? In come the Rochester Americans, just started the 3rd. No shot to the net there. They get it back. It's loose. Dahlstrom digs it free. Here's Hosang. He'll find Fraser Minton through center. Minton's in again, winding up, shooting. He scores! Fraser Minton! He has 5! Oh my! That's his 7th of the season, his 5th tonight. Fraser Minton stepping up big for the Marlies. A new season high, 5 goals scored in a single game this year. Here's the draw. 1 back, and it's picked up. He already has a hat-trick penalty coming to Toronto early here in the 3rd. The Americans will go back to the power play. Rochester has some work to do heading into the next game against Toronto, back in Toronto. Down by 5. Now that is a statement from the Toronto Marlies. Wolanin, Prowl, here's a shot, and Ferguson fights it off. To the corner it goes. Dusak is there, and he'll flip it down the ice for the Marlies. Here's Parks, he'll play it. Up and around the boards, that finds help in Hayden. To Quinn. Here's Jankowski, a step. Won't get it to the net. There's Kivi Halme, and clears it again for Toronto. Rochester Americans and the Toronto Marlies, both teams are 2-0 to start the year, but Toronto up 5-0. Here come the Americans again. Kivi Halme has to get back, and he did well. Pass in front. Here's a shot, and Ferguson fights it off. In behind the goal, they set up. Here's Wolanin looking in, shooting. Ferguson has that. It's loose, and Jankowski can't tuck it by. 3rd chance, that's blocked. Dusak has it. He'll fire it down the ice. Icing warning. It will go for icing. Just about 5 gone here in the 3rd. Still a 5-0 Marley lead. Fraser Minton has 5 goals in this hockey game for Toronto. When has that ever happened in a AHL game? Anderson fires it back down the ice. Takes a hop, and it will go for icing. Just about 6 gone here in the 3rd period. For the Rochester fans that are still here, it's just to enjoy the hockey experience, even though it hasn't really been enjoyable tonight. Down 5-0 to Toronto. Here's Proud. Blocked in front. There's Soma. He'll get it to McMahon. For Joey Anderson. Taken down. Here comes Quinn. He turns it over at center. Wolanin inside to the net. Jankowski, and he won't get it there. Dusak fans on the clear. Now gets it ahead to McMahon, and He'll flip it down the ice to get some line changes here for Toronto. Here's Wolanin taken down. Anderson back. Kivihome for McMahon. And he gave that away just about halfway through the third period. 5-0 the Marlies lead on the Rochester Americans. Aaron along the boards. It's Hayden. He has it back in. Moves in. Centers. They get it back for Quinn. Shot blocked. This might be trouble, and it won't be as the Americans get back to it first. Quinn inside. A step and a shot. Rifled wide. Mersch in the corner. Rochester digs it free, and another penalty coming to Toronto. In behind the goal. Drop pass. Wolanin. That deflects. Marlies touch up another penalty. 7:31 to go. 5-0 Toronto. Here comes the face-off. New lines on the ice for both teams. One back controlled here by Dawson. He gives it away. Plays that further for Kirill Semyonov. They'll chase after it short-handed here for the Marlies. Killing some time. Plays that back in and around behind. That was Schultz, and he'll get it ahead. A Gleave to Mersch. Taken down hard. Davidson to a Gleave. In he comes. Look. Shoots. Stopped by Ferguson. Dahlstrom. Here's Semyonov. And backed out. Rochester will go after it again. Michaelis over skates. Here come the Rochester Americans. Hayden down the left wing side. Looking, waiting. Drop pass, a bad one. And here's Mark Michaelis, a gift. Michaelis, he scores. It is 6-0 Marlies. This one not Fraser Minton's, but 6-0 lead. Mark Michaelis shorthanded. That's the second shorthanded goal this year now for Toronto. Back-to-back games. Just 5 seconds left in the power play. On one back, that's it. Back to full strength. 6-0 now. Here's Mersch along the boards. This is the worst the Rochester Americans have played against Toronto. Mersch scores! Well, there won't be a shutout. As Mersch puts Rochester on the board, it is 6-1. Our Rochester fans can at least celebrate about a goal. They're on the board, down by 5 again. Fraser Minton's line on the ice, 4:37 to go. 5 goals for Fraser Minton. Here's Fitzgerald, ahead to Mersch. Great move in, looking for his second. Chris to Hallwell. That pass Anderson to Fraser Minton again. Here's Minton. Here's Hosang. Hosang looks to center. Anderson in the corner to the puck first. Kick back around. Chris over, gave it away to a Gleave. Breakaway McInnes with a step. Stopped by Ferguson. Anderson back to defend well. And he'll play that ahead to Fraser Minton. A minute left. Here's Fraser Minton again. In, shoots. And Parks fought that off. Fitzgerald. Here's Mersch. Back after it. Davidson. Ahead for Mersch. Final minute. Toronto up 6-1. Robertson to Anderson. Back for Nick Robertson. A bad pass. And out it comes. Here come the Americans inside on the left wing. Shot. Stopped by Ferguson. Here's Nick Robertson now. Robertson drops it off for Abe Cabell. And he makes his way in. And a shot to the net. Not much there. Davidson taken down. 20 seconds left. Rochester about to go on yet another power play. They're down 6-1. As the seconds run down here in the War Memorial Arena from downtown Rochester. So face off here, left side of the Marley goal. 6-1, looking for their third straight victory to start the year. Here's McMahon. Plays that to Somoa. And he'll just play it in the far corner. After it goes Dusak, another man taken down, and that'll be a 5-on-3 with just under 5 seconds left. Marlies give up a goal after scoring 6 in a row. Here in the third, a 6-1 game. One back, Wolanin to the net, stopped by Ferguson. Back from behind, a centering shot, stopped by Ferguson. And the Toronto Marlies have beat the Rochester Americans of a final score 6-1. Fraser Minton recording 5 goals on the afternoon. That's a new AHL record and Marley record in general.